Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Caleb Likes Books. Today I'm bringing you another book review, and this is for Indiana Jones and the Army of the Dead by Steve Perry. So, as many of you who are watching this may know, there is a new Indiana Jones movie coming out, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And since I got this book, I can't remember if I got it at the end of last year or early this year or what, but I got it sometime recently-ish. And I figured since the new movie's coming out, I would read this and review it in celebration of a new Indiana Jones movie. Before I actually talk about the book, I'm just going to briefly talk about my experience with this franchise, because I feel like that I don't think it's super important for this review, but I think maybe for context it might be important. I grew up watching Indiana Jones. I never saw it until Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out. So I was about 9 or 10 years old when I saw that. And then that just made me fall in love with the franchise. And so, I watched the original trilogy and all that, and I watched those 4 movies a lot growing up. Haven't seen them in a while. I probably ought to rewatch them, but I loved Indiana Jones growing up. I still do love it a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. Even I read some of the books growing up, not the novels like this one is, but I read some Indiana Jones themed Choose Your Own Adventure books that I really enjoyed and things like that. So I was really into Indiana Jones as a kid, along with other franchises like Star Wars and Spider-Man and things like that. It was one of my favorites. But to start talking about this book itself, first of all, it was released in 2009, so about a year after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out. It is the most recent Indiana Jones book as well. There hasn't been one released since, which I think is really a shame. I think I don't know how well these sell, but I would imagine that they don't sell terribly because Indiana Jones is such a popular franchise. And there were a lot of novels that came out before this one, but I would love to see them start to continue to release more, because I think quick little adventures like this one would be a lot of fun. Just some different one-off books about Indiana Jones would be super fun, especially if Dial of Destiny is going to be the last movie. But to actually start the actual review for this book, to start off with some positives for this book, really, I have mostly positive things to say about this book. I went into this book expecting one thing, that it was going to be not necessarily the deepest or most extremely interesting book ever, but for it to be just a fun Indiana Jones adventure, basically taking one of the movies or something similar to the movies and just putting it on the page. And that is exactly what I got with this book. If you're an Indiana Jones fan and you just think, I just want a fun Indiana Jones adventure that I can read, this is the book for you. I don't know if that's the case for the other books. I would assume it probably is. So definitely go check those out as well. I'm intending to check out more of them if I am able. But that is definitely the case for this book. This book is through and through just a fun, exciting Indiana Jones adventure that feels like it fits the franchise. He goes to this place, I believe somewhere in Haiti or something like that, to find this artifact, which then he has these other people kind of stalking him and trying to kind of also find this artifact or different things. You get some Japanese people, some Germans, all kind of going after this thing and trying to go on this hunt for this artifact or whatever, which is very Indiana Jones. And then there are some supernatural elements to this. You may have noticed that the title is The Army of the Dead, and if you look at the cover here, if I can figure out where the camera is, you can see there's some zombie looking things. This is a zombie book, sort of. They're not as prevalent as you might think. They do show up quite a bit, but it's not like a horror zombie book or anything like that. It is still very much, just a fun, pretty lighthearted adventure book, not really a horror book. But basically, there are these voodoo people who are able to resurrect the dead in order to basically make them their servants or things like that, and able to control them and make them do whatever they want. And so Indiana Jones is in this place where this is happening, and he is looking for an artifact, I believe the Heart of Darkness, if I remember correctly. So he's looking for that, but then he also runs into these zombie characters and all that stuff. And so that's basically the premise of this book. At first I was a little unsure about that because zombies are typically not really my thing. Although some stories that I've read that have zombies in them I have enjoyed, like Star Wars Red Harvest and things like that. But I think it was done well here. It was done in a way that I think decently fits the tone of Indiana Jones, where, you know, it's like Indiana Jones has been shown to have some somewhat supernatural stuff going on before, so this doesn't feel too far-fetched, especially with the way it's presented. I think it works pretty well, thankfully, because I wasn't sure how I would feel about that, because I think if it was just straight up just a zombie plague, I don't know how I would have felt about that. But where it's to do with this voodoo magic and all this stuff, I think that fits the franchise feel a little bit better. I also think the characters in here were really well done. Indiana Jones is written very well. He feels like Indiana Jones. You also have Mac, who I might be wrong about this because, again, it's been a while since I've seen the movies, but I think he was in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, if I remember correctly. And then you also have another character who's, I think her name is Marie, who's kind of the third character, the third main character that works with both of them. She's a native of this area, and so she kind of works with them, and she's a good character as well. And you have the, not necessarily the antagonists, I guess, but these other POV characters that are the Japanese or the Germans, and they're done very well. I enjoyed them quite a bit. I did kind of get that feeling sometimes when I read them of like, I kind of want to get back to Indiana Jones because that's what I'm here for. But for showing different perspectives of people in the same area with similar goals, I think they did pretty well. And all the character interactions were a lot of fun. The banter and the interactions between Indiana Jones, Mac, and the other person whose name I just forgot, Marie, that's it. They were pretty good. They were fun. Lots of fun interactions with all of them. I also think the action in this book was really excellent. You know, it was very exciting. It was very fast-paced action, really exciting and fun and all of that stuff. You know, it was basically all the things that I think you want out of action scenes in a book. They were written very well, they were fun to read, and there's quite a few of them throughout this book. There's also some more slower moments where you get more of the character development, or not necessarily as much development, but, you know, get to know more about some of the characters or more about the culture that they come from, because this is a very unique culture. And things like that, which also worked very well. And that's pretty much all I got for positives. As far as negatives, I don't really have anything negative to say about this book. I guess the only thing is conceptually I'm not too sure about the zombie thing, but it was done pretty well, so I'm willing to excuse that. I'm willing to excuse a concept that I'm not necessarily crazy about if the execution is done well, and I do think the execution was done well in this book. Other than that, I don't really have much to say. I think I did maybe lose a little bit of interest in certain parts towards the ending. The ending of the book was okay, but it wasn't, I don't know, it didn't 100% land for me, but it was still a pretty decent ending. But that's pretty much all the issues that I really have with this book. Overall, it was really solid. So to wrap things up, overall, I really did enjoy this book a lot. It was a very quick read for me. It only took me a few days. Very well-paced. You get some slower scenes, but then you have the fast-paced action. It's a lot of fun to read. It's definitely, I think, a page-turner where, you know, it's just enjoyable to read, so I wanted to keep going. And all the characters were really good, and the plot was interesting, and all that stuff. It definitely is a very good book to read if you just want a fun, exciting Indiana Jones adventure, like I said. So if that's something you're interested in, then definitely give this book a look, because I think it definitely achieves that goal very, very well. As far as a rating out of 10 that I would give this book, I would give it an 8.5. Not necessarily one of the absolute most amazing books I've ever read, but it was extremely entertaining, a lot of fun to read, and didn't really have any big issues with it. So this is definitely a very high recommendation for me, especially if you're an Indiana Jones fan. But that is pretty much it for this video, so let me know down in the comments if you have read Indiana Jones and the Army of the Dead, or any of the other Indiana Jones books, and let me know what you think of them. I am hoping to get my hands on some more of them. From what I've looked at online, they don't seem to be as readily accessible as this one was. I was able to order this right off Amazon. I don't know if some of the older ones are going to be quite as easy to get my hands on, but I am definitely intending to read some more of them if I am able to. Because this was a lot of fun, and I would imagine that the other books will be just as awesome. So that is pretty much it for this video. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.